everybody, and welcome back to the stream. It's Friday, and you know what that means. It's time for Functional Home Fitness, where we do weight training using objects you can find around your house. And it is a beautiful, snowy, super cold day in the Boulder area. I mean, it's nighttime now, but yeah, it never got above like 16 degrees right now, and this morning it was 1 degree when I woke up, so yeah, it's been a cold one, but thankfully I didn't have to go anywhere, as hopefully most of us can say, considering there's a pandemic and also it's winter. So I just got to drink a lot of tea and stay in my PJs, which is very nice. And I hope you did too. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another Friday evening. Yeah, what a week. What a week. It's been a really, really busy week. I don't think I've actually mentioned this on stream yet, but I got a new Muggle job a couple of weeks ago. Started the same day that we moved into the new house. So yeah, it's definitely been a crazy couple of weeks for me. And wonderful, like a lot of really excellent stuff, and I'm very happy and I'm very excited and like doing a lot of new things. But it also has been a lot of like fire hose of information, and how do I balance all of the stuff that I want to do and balance, you know, making sure that I'm taking care of the stream and taking care of my personal training clients, who are obviously very high priority in my overall life design. So yeah, it's one of those weeks where it's absolutely been a good week, and I am absolutely super tired because of just trying to figure out the new balance of my life, which is exhausting. We don't pay enough attention to how tiring that is, and we should, because it's tiring, my friends. It's really tiring. But it's Friday, which is wonderful. It means that I get to relax, wind down, play some D&D tomorrow after class, which is always good. Obviously via Zoom, because sitting outdoors in 1 degree weather is not something that anybody should want to do. And not even for D&D. Not even for D&D will I do that. Yeah, and I love D&D, but yeah, so it's been a big week. It's been an exhausting week, you know. A lot of times when there's a lot of changes, and hello, my dear. Hello, happy Friday. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, a lot of times when you're, you know, going through a lot of changes and a lot of big stuff, it, you know, it leaves you vulnerable emotionally, just because there are lots of changes and it's exhausting, and that can frequently, you know, open us up to being confronted with other emotions or feelings or issues that we haven't been examining particularly effectively. And I've definitely had some of that going on this week too, which is hard. You know, it's hard. It's hard to figure out how to balance being overwhelmingly happy with my life and, you know, the few things that still run up and catch me from behind when I'm not expecting it. But you know what? We're here, and we're doing a class, and we're taking care of ourselves and taking care of each other, and that is a hugely wonderful and important thing in my life. Love being here with you all. Love this community that we're building. The opportunity to teach, have a little fun, go on weird nerdy digressions about movies. We've had several of them this week. And yeah, just see where we go from there. So happy Friday. I hope that you have made it through the week safely, and I hope you've been taking care of yourself, which can be difficult. So if you haven't been, then I offer my voice as the voice in your head that reminds you to take care of yourself and hydrate and eat food, and take a shower, and, you know, maybe consider getting dressed in the mornings. Like, it's really wonderful to have the control and have the option. And some days you do just want to stay in your PJs all day. Absolutely. I did that today, and it felt wonderful. But it also felt special because every other day this week, I've gotten up and I've done my morning routine, and then I've taken a shower and I've gotten into clothing, because that's one of the things that I do to signal my brain that it's time to focus on work stuff and professional stuff, and to get myself into that headspace. And that's a hugely important component of working from home, I think, is figuring out how to create structure that will aid you in keeping that divide between work and home so that two don't mesh, and also having the ability to bend it or fudge it. So, gotten into clothing every day this week, but some days it was, full on pants, shirt, cute boots, and some days it was a Seattle Kraken's t-shirt and sweatpants. But just paying attention to that, and paying attention to the power of things like showers and clothing and makeup as markers that can help us to signal, okay, we're moving into this part of the day now. Now I need to focus on that. And it's something that I've found hugely helpful. And it's such a huge difference from the first time that I did work from home. I worked as a consultant a few years ago in the healthcare space, and that was my first time perma working from home, all virtual office. And I just did not have a handle on how to set those structures for myself. And it made it really hard. So in case anybody's looking for that assistance, I know that we're, almost a year into primarily working from home for many of us, but, that doesn't mean that we can't still use suggestions and tips and tricks, because, I think most of us spent a lot of the beginning of quarantine thinking that it was going to be a short-term thing. And, in that instance, it's well, I don't want to put too much energy into creating all these new structures only to have them become irrelevant, a couple of weeks down the line. Now I think, or at least I hope, that we, even once it is safer to be around others, and to be back in offices, that we maintain some of this flexibility, some of this accessibility, because I think it's hugely important. Not everybody works effectively in the same ways. Some people are more effective in offices. Some people are more effective working from home. Some people are most effective using a mix. And I think that there is a lot of opportunity to update our expectations for where and how we work, particularly in office jobs, particularly in fields that truly do not require people to be in a specific physical location to get their work done. There's a lot of old forms that are hanging around very tenaciously because a lot of people like to say that's the way we've always done it, which is almost always a sign that somebody just doesn't actually want to pay attention to improving things and just wants to go on with the same old, because change is hard. So yeah, being a cynic, I assumed I was going to be trapped at home for precisely as long as the city I work for would tolerate that. Oh God, yeah. And then there are the industries that are trying to shove people back into offices as soon as it becomes legally okay, because they just don't want to do any of this work. I'm very lucky, and I recognize that. My new job is for a company that is a remote work first company, and wants people to work in whatever space, in whatever manner will help them to be most effective. And look, it's 2021. We should have that for everyone. We should absolutely have that for everyone that we can. And disability activists have pointed out very rightly that for years they've been told that these types of accommodations were just impossible, only to see companies turn around and put all of this stuff in place that they've been asking for. So, you know, we should definitely not put up with it, even just starting from the standpoint of it's an accessibility nightmare, you know? And working under the assumption that people have to be in offices is an accessibility nightmare, and it fucks over a lot of people. So hopefully this can be the start of moving towards more and more companies recognizing that having more flexibility in these arenas is only going to improve things. So anyway, that's what's on my mind. That's what's on my mind, friends. But now what's on my mind is teaching class. Ooh, there went a nice green hair. Yep, I've got a lot of them. And they're still so green. Look at that. Oh, man. Yeah, amazing what switching entirely to dry shampoo and not getting your hair wet will do for a color like this. I'm not going to keep color like this always and forever and ever, because I do kind of miss getting my hair wet in the shower, but it's nice to know that when I have colors in my hair like this, I can definitely maintain them quite well. But hi everyone, welcome to Functional Home Fitness. If this is your first time, welcome. This class is a little different from the rest of the classes on the channel in that it is a weight training class, free weight training class, but instead of using gym equipment like dumbbells and kettlebells that not everybody has at home, we use stuff you can find around your house. Examples of things include laundry detergent bottles, include backpacks or tote bags that you can then fill with books. Books are a great example. You'll see here today I've got 2 books from the Expanse series, and I've got my trusty laundry detergent bottle, and that is what we are going to be doing. Some quick advisories if this is your first time. One more specific to this class and one more generally about free weight training. In this class, we're weight training, but we're not able to load as deliberately as we can in the gym because we're not using things that are nicely ergonomically shaped and have, 15 pounds or 12 kilograms or whatever written on the side of them for us to clearly see and translate. So if this is your first class, please err on the side of caution when deciding how heavy to go, okay? Err on the side of lighter. Do a set with the item. As you get to know more instinctually how heavy things are and how it fits in with where your capacity is, you may get to the end of that first set and go, I think I can probably load up a little bit more, maybe add a couple more books to this bag, see how that changes things. You may get to the end of the set and go, oh no, actually that ended up being exactly the right amount of weight. Or you may get to the end, sorry, it's a yawning day, and go, I need to downgrade this a little bit. So always, as you're getting familiar with what random objects you have around the house that you might want to use for this class, always err on the side of caution when you start. And then as you get more familiar with things, obviously then you'll have a better handle on what you can use. The other note is more general for free weight training, and it's something I wish someone had told me before I started doing such things. You may have noticed at this point in your life that humans are not symmetrical creatures. We have stronger sides and weaker sides. And when we are doing free weight training, so, 2 weights of the same heaviness, 1 in each hand, we have a tendency to go, well, I want to strengthen my weaker side. So obviously what I'm going to do is I'm going to push it by loading it the same as what my stronger side can manage. And that will clearly make it stronger faster. Do not do this, okay? Overloading our weaker side with an amount of weight that it cannot handle yet is not the way to strengthen ourselves. That is the way to cause us to have to do lots of weird, unhealthy compensations to even move the weight through the space. It's setting us up for potentially very bad injuries that could turn into chronic injury conditions. And it's all around not good for you. So always load yourself based on the capacity of your weaker side, not your stronger side, and then figure out how you can ramp up your weaker side, okay? But do not think that just because your stronger side can manage, 30-pound weight, that your weaker side should be able to do that even though it's clearly too heavy for it, okay? Take it from somebody who has chronic shoulder stuff, because nobody told me that. Yay! All right. I've been chattering for too long. So let's do our pre-class checklist, my friends, and let's get going. All right. We've got our water in whatever water vessel we are using. My trusty mason jar here. Always taking that pre-class sip just to determine whether I'm feeling particularly dehydrated. I think I'm doing pretty well today, which is nice. Fitness friend says, remember to hydrate, because we're all bad at it. You got your comfy clothes, whatever that means to you. You've got your mat or mat-sized space on the floor. And if you use a fitness wearable, let's turn them on right now, not to high-intensity interval training, but to a traditional strength training setting, okay? Because we're not doing the HIIT cardio stuff today. We'll have a little of that in the warm-up, but not for the rest of class. So strength training, a much better setting. And last but not least, make sure you have a pile of objects that you can use for the different exercises. And if you have dumbbells and kettlebells at home, feel free to use them. I like to keep this class with objects you can find around the house because, again, accessibility is super important and not everybody has the space or the money to purchase big sets of exercise equipment. But if you have that at home, I will try to mention each time what piece of equipment I would be using if I was in the gym, and you can go off of that. Yay! But let's do our warm-up. All right, so everybody on your mats, on your backs, 1 foot crossed over the opposite knee, and when you hear that horn, we will begin with hip rocks and bridges. Yeah, there we go. Oh man, hey there. Still feeling a little worn from Wednesday's class. That's always an enjoyable feeling. Yeah, I woke up this morning and I have one bathroom with a skylight in it, and then the window in this room is on an angle because this room is sort of right under the roof. So one of the walls, the wall behind the camera, is just completely at an angle. And both of them were completely covered in snow so that I could not see out the window. I was like, ooh, that's just really lovely and fun. And it all fell during the night. Like, it hasn't actually been snowing outside during the day today. It all fell during the night. And it looks like, all right, switch feet. It looks like we can expect more snow over the next few days, which is also lovely. I am a huge fan of winter weather in the winter, and particularly in Colorado, which is very prone to droughts, and as we saw last year, bad wildfire seasons. It is definitely always a good thing to get lots of precipitation during the winter, lots of snow, lots of rain in the spring, so that hopefully things are a little less dry and a little more protected. But yeah, I have never lived anywhere that took fire bans so seriously. You know, you do not mess with the fire bans. You do not go out there and light fireworks on various holidays. You do not light fires outside during fire season. And if you do, you make sure that you know how to close them out properly, for lack of a better term. See, this is why I don't light fires outside, because clearly I don't even know the terminology. But yeah, it is, you have to be so watchful. And so I definitely always appreciate the winters where we get more of that winter weather, where we get that snow, where we get that precipitation, because I know that it's going to help us a lot when we get back to the summer months. Help us prevent drought, help us to lower the risks of wildfire season. And you know, it's not a coincidence that 2 years ago we had an incredibly snowy and then rainy winter and spring, and didn't really have much of a fire season at all to speak of. And then last winter and spring were pretty dry, and you know, this August everything just friggin' fell apart. I'm going to be fascinated to see what the mountains close by to where I live look like in the spring, because there's a whole swath along one of the major connecting highways that was definitely burned during the wildfire season. And yeah, it's going to be interesting, because right now it doesn't really look that different from the rest of the foothills. You know, there's maybe a little bit of a different quality to the darkness, but the hills are already kind of dotted with dark spots, you know, dotted with various pine trees and stuff like that. So it's a little harder to make out. It can just look like a lot of trees are over there. But I think once things start growing, and once greenery really starts to come back, then it's going to become much more obvious where these giant super burn patches are. And it's interesting, you know, as I'm saying this, I'm realizing that I haven't driven along that particular stretch of highway in months. Possibly over a year. It is entirely possible that it's been over a year since I took that stretch of highway, because I'm just not going anywhere. You know, I drove into Denver last week and realized that I was pretty sure it had been one of the first times that I had done that in, you know, maybe a year and a half. It's entirely possible, which is just wild. But, you know, that's the thing. Obviously, I've been trying to take quarantine very seriously and taking health and safety during the pandemic very seriously. And so I just haven't gone anywhere outside of this very small radius of area of Colorado that I inhabit. And it was kind of wild to be reminded of that, to be reminded of how long we have been living this life, you know, and how sort of inwardly focused it has become in a lot of ways. And there are positives to that, or at least there are positives that I have found to that, in terms of better understanding the importance of taking care of my home space and, you know, setting it up to be a place that I actually enjoy being, and the impact that it has on my overall well-being and mental health, and sort of recognizing the breadth of things that I can still do and accomplish here inside my home, as opposed to, you know, going out into the world. And there's still so much to do, and that I have done, which is really wonderful. But it's also a reminder of a lot of things that I miss. I miss traveling. I miss seeing people who live farther away from me than right down the road in person. You know, I had a lot of trips planned for last year that had to get canceled, and, you know, weddings and annual visits and trips out to see friends, and it's just like, I don't know when any of that's going to get rescheduled, and that's a really hard thing to realize, you know. I know a lot of people have been talking about hitting a particular exhaustion point with quarantine in the last month or so, and I feel like I haven't had that experience yet. I don't think I've hit that place yet, but I do know that there are a lot of things that I miss and have been missing, and that I just really hope I can experience again, you know, before 2022, which, jeez, if someone had said that to me last year this time, I would have sort of laughed disbelievingly, but man, you know, right now it doesn't seem that ridiculous to wonder whether we're going to be able to get back out into the world in 2021 or not. Fingers crossed, my friends, fingers crossed. I miss hugging people. Dang it. That is definitely something that I miss very, very much. And that's just, you know, that's something that there's no way to get around, really. I mean, you know, there are ways to have socially distanced in-person time, like outdoors, on people's decks. It's, you know, it's not perfect in terms of safety, but there are ways to do it that minimize risk and allow you to at least be in the same-ish physical space as another human. But there's no way to get around the hugging thing. And I miss that so much. I feel like whenever I feel safe traveling again, it's just going to be the grand tour of going around the country and hugging my friends. Yeah, it'll be nice. It'll be nice to do that. Yeah, it's weird because, you know, I feel like a lot of people are starting to talk about, like, oh, what are you going to do, you know, when everything goes back to normal? And I still don't feel comfortable with that hypothetical, particularly because I feel like it is driving a lot of unsafe behaviors and justification for unsafe behaviors. And, you know, that is something that is a very real danger and incredibly frustrating. But I do have a small list, you know, in the back of my mind, things that I want to do when I feel safe enough. And I don't honestly know what the criteria of feeling safe enough is going to be, because getting vaccinated is not the be-all and end-all, particularly with new strains coming around. The UK strain that's more transmissible is rampaging through the country, and I believe the jury is still out on the effectiveness of the current round of vaccines on that particular strain. So, you know, I don't see getting vaccinated as an immediate excuse to, you know, get on a plane and go to parties without masks on and stuff like that. So I don't know. I feel like that's going to be a really frustrating thing about this year, is watching everybody try to make these determinations for themselves, because at this point, the American governmental response has failed us so completely that I do not have any confidence that that they will help to clarify what people should be doing and paying attention to. I just don't see that happening. And, you know, we're going to go back to that phase of everybody just sort of making their own determinations based on, in many instances, nothing but their, overwhelming desire for quote unquote normalcy. And that's going to be really scary and really frustrating. I think we're about to head into a really scary phase of this, as people who maybe had been being more careful start to get emboldened to take greater risks because of vaccination, or what on earth? What are you doing? What are you doing, alarm? I'll get you in a second. Stop that. All right, that was the horn going. So kick through time. Sorry about that. That's an alarm I need to turn off. Woo, hello there. All right. But yeah, it's rough. It's rough, and I know that you all are probably struggling with that too. Obviously, I am not the only one having these thoughts and feelings, and I know how hard it is to balance our desire to be safe and to take care of our people and our communities with our very real need for interpersonal connection. It's not a simple proposition to tell people that they can't gather, that they can't hug and, share physical space. That's not an easy thing that we are asking people to do. And yeah, so if you've been feeling like you're really struggling with that, I want you to know that I feel you. Absolutely. And I know how hard it is. And I've been dealing with the same issues. And at the end of the day, we're just trying to take care of ourselves and take care of each other. And hopefully, this class can be a good opportunity to do just that. Yeah. All right. Woo. All right. Dun, dun, dun. Sitting down, chilling. Look, sometimes you have to get on a plane to go to a party. Sometimes the party is not nearby. But yes, I am very fancy. Excuse me, I have to go find my monocle. All right, my friends. Woo! A good warm-up, getting our muscles ready for all of the strength training fun that is coming down the pipeline. So, let's just take a quick couple of deep centering breaths just to get that breath rate down, that heart rate down a little bit. And again. There we go. All right. So we are going to have 5 exercises tonight. 2 of them are just side 1 and side 2. But we're going to have 5 exercises. We're going to go through 4 times each. Okay? So what are those exercises? Well, let me see if I can remember. Oh, man. I think I can remember. I should have brought a book bag up. That was silly of me. Okay, well, the first one is going to be a classic for this class, the upright row. Usually if I was in a gym, I would be using 2 dumbbells, but since it can be really hard to find 2 objects of the same size and shape in your home, I will frequently modify exercises to use just 1 heavy object rather than the 2. So for our upright rows, I'm using my favorite top-handled laundry detergent bottle, and we're just going to lift it up until the hands are at chest height, elbows are parallel with the floor, and lower, lift, and lower, okay? So if I was doing this with dumbbells, and I actually do have a couple of dumbbells, I would have my palms facing my thighs, lift and lower, lift and lower, okay? Look at that, I have gym equipment. It only took me like 2 years to get there. Okay, so that is exercise 1. Exercise 2 is going to be, it's going to be a wall sit, holding a weight in front of you. So, wall sit, super easy. Find a wall and sit against it. Here, I'll show you from this one because I do want you to do about 90-degree angles. So torso to thighs and thighs to shins, okay? I don't usually do my wall sit from that wall because it's not a steady surface, but you get the point. And then while you're in the wall sit, just holding a lighter weight in front of you, okay? So if I was in class, I would use a stability ball for that, all right? And if you want to add a little oblique activation in there, you can twist to one side, back to center, other side, back to center, okay? So that one's obviously not a rep-based exercise, so I'll let you know when a minute has passed on the timer, and you can decide whether to keep going or not from there. So that's exercise 2. Exercise 3 is going to be side 1 of our weighted lean. So we're going to take our feet about hip width apart, nice and stable. I'm holding a weight in one side. Make sure your shoulders engaged so the weight's not pulling your arm down. And I'm going to allow that weight to lower, and then I'm going to engage the obliques and push myself back up to standing, okay? And then lower and lift and lower and lift, okay? Then we'll do exercise 4, which is the other side. Same thing, just other side, okay? And then exercise 5 is going to be lateral raises. So I'm going to use my Expanse books for that. You want lighter weights. So if I was doing this with dumbbells, I wouldn't want to go much heavier than 5 pounds to start with anyway, because our shoulders, very unstable joint. You want to work them up towards heavier weights. So definitely always skew lighter for this. And we're just going to take that same stable standing stance, raise the weights up to about shoulder height, so your arms are parallel with the ground, and then lower, lift, and lower, all right? So those are our 5 exercises. Upright rows, wall sits, side 1 of the weighted lean, side 2 of the weighted lean, and lateral raises. We're gonna have 2-minute timers going. So when you hear the horn go off, you begin the exercise and do the number of reps all in a row, then take the rest of the timer for rest. Okay? So I'm going to get that timer started. We're going to do 25 to 35 reps today. Okay? So get prepped, get ready. We're starting with upright rows and going. All right? So we have a lot of exercises that require a lot of stability of our trunk. And when I refer to our trunk, I'm basically talking about the entire body from my feet up to my head, okay? I need all of that to remain nice and stable so that the only things that are moving are my shoulders and elbows, managing the movement of the weight through space, okay? Everything else needs to be standing still. So I've got my core engaged. I've got my glutes engaged. The rest of my body is not going anywhere, all right? I am just moving these two joints, okay? And making sure that I am maintaining control of the weight at all times. That's a big thing when we are moving heavy weights through space, when we are actively lifting them and pushing them around. You want to be in control of the weight the whole time. So with upright rows, when we start to go down to lower back to the starting position, there can be a tendency to be like, oh, cool, gravity's here, that can help me. Don't give in to that. Gravity is not your friend here. Gravity wants to pull your arms down at an unhealthy speed. You're holding a heavy weight. The shoulder is already an unstable joint and needs particular care. And suddenly I've jerked my shoulder around the socket, which is not good. All right, getting ready for wall sits. Grab your lighter weight. Start moving in that wall. And there's the horn. So again, you can just hold the weight out in front of you the whole time. That's fine, okay? Or you can add in those twists from side to side. Don't stop breathing, okay? Breathing is very important and very easy to lose track of in these held positions. So make sure you're still breathing the whole time, even if you're just chilling here and standing. You want to be breathing the whole time. Your muscles are still working really hard, even if you can't, even if they're not moving, they are still working really hard. So you need to make sure that you are absolutely giving them the oxygen that they need. All right, a minute has gone by. So just to keep that in mind, okay? And I'm gonna run over here. Don't forget to keep drinking your water, my friends. Water, water, water. Sometimes sacrifices must be made for fanciness. It's true. That's one of my goals for 2021 is increase my fanciness quotient. Because if this last year has taught me anything, it's that being fancy is fun. And I want to do more of it. Oh yeah, squinting. You enjoy squinting constantly to keep it from falling off. It really, when you think about it, I don't think that we thought the design of the monocle through all that well. Oh, a top hat would be incredible. All right, side one of the weighted lean. So again, stable stance, shoulders engaged, and the shoulder stays engaged the whole time, okay? So this is an exercise where we're not worried about gravity, pulling the weight down too far. We're keeping that in control. What we don't want is the weight trying to pull our shoulder out of the socket, okay? So there's a difference between this and that. That is unhealthy. That is me not stabilizing and supporting my shoulder and the weight taking advantage of that, okay? And that's how we end up with shoulder injuries. So anytime that we are doing one of these exercises where we are holding a heavy weight, not necessarily manipulating it through space, which means that of course we can use a heavier weight than we might normally, but then you really need to check in on that shoulder stability and make sure that it is there and it is strong, okay? So keep that in mind. That's the main thing. And then obviously using the abdominals to bring the torso back up, okay? So we're not trying to pull down on the other arm or something like that. We're not trying to like shove our hips over to get ourselves back up. You want to feel here and here. So here we're trying to lengthen these obliques to straighten up while we contract with these obliques, okay? So we've got equal and opposite muscle actions on both sides. All right, now for the other side, all right? So just evening ourselves out, making sure that both sides of the abdominals get all of the nice effort that they can get. And remember that exhaling is a tool, okay? So we talk about exhaling on the effort. So in this case, where's the biggest effort? Standing back up, because you're pushing against, you're moving against this added external force, which is this weight. Your abdominals are having to exert more internal force to compensate for the external weight that's being put on them. So that's where we're really feeling the effort. We're not feeling the effort as we lean over to the side. Again, gravity is just dying to be our friend in that particular instance, okay? But it's when we go to stand back up that we really need that nice exhalation. You're not always going to hear me do those exhalations because I am generally talking at you during the times when I would be doing those big dramatic breaths. So I just try to remember to remind you that even though I am not doing it, because life of a Twitch streamer doesn't necessarily leave you a lot of time to breathe, I do want you to be doing it. It is useful, it is helpful, and you will notice that sometimes I can't stop myself. I'm doing something and it's taking enough effort that I need that breath to help me move through it. All right, time for lateral raises. So get your light weights, probably books. Books are generally where we go. And lifting and lowering. And again, making sure that you control the weight the whole time, okay? And this is an exercise that when you start out the set, you're probably there going, oh, well, this is just way too light. I'm not getting anything from this, okay? Give it a little time. Give it some time. Get through your reps. You will probably start to feel it. It truly does not take a ton of weight for you to feel this, okay? And we want to strengthen our shoulders, we want to stabilize them, and we want to do it safely, all right? That's a big theme here at Blanche Case Fitness. We want to be able to exercise for as much of our lives as possible, and that means that we need to learn how to move safely, and we need to learn how to strengthen ourselves intelligently and not assume that we need to be able to leap to the top of the mountain right off the bat, all right? Yeah. I added a couple of puzzle pieces over here, so now I can start doing shrimps in class again, because I can't really turn the the mat set up the way that I used to be able to, but now I don't need to, which is very exciting. No shrimps today, obviously, but down the road. All right. That was our first set of everything. And now it's time to begin again. So going back to our upright rows. For upright rows, I generally take a slightly wider stance. So for many of these other exercises, I'll do something closer to hip width. For upright rows, and actually for the weighted leans, I'll generally do something between hip width and shoulder width. And then lateral raises, I'll just go for hip width stance. I don't really need to have a super wide stance for that one. But when you're using heavier weights, a wider stance can definitely help. You don't need to go too wide for anything that we're doing. You know, we're not doing Olympic lifting or deadlifting here, because again, we're about accessibility here, and most people do not have that equipment in their homes. Some people do. Some people I know do, but most of us are not going around with a nice big Olympic lifting cage in the house. So yeah, we're not, I don't think I have any exercises that are arm exercises where you would need to take a super wide stance. Yeah, I don't know how I got on that tangent. Sometimes you just start talking and then you're like, where am I? How did I get here? What was my path? I'm really not sure anymore. And that's always fun. Oh man, all right, so we are in our second set of everything. Okay, there's our knocking. We're about to do our second round of wall sits. And one of the big things, especially, you know, in all of our sets, but we want to start it here, is checking in on our form and making sure that our form is just as good as it was in our first set, okay? So second set, you know, is not going to be as effortless as the first set, but you're going to start to feel some things. You'll feel a little bit of, not necessarily fatigue, but definitely effort. You know, it may feel a little bit more difficult to go through the entire movement than it did the first time around, and that's totally fine, okay? But you need to be checking in and making sure that your form is still solid, okay? All right, a minute has gone by, my friends, because that's the biggest thing that we need to make sure of when we're doing these. These two, yeah, oh my God. Like I said, and it's why I modify so many of the arm exercises to use just one weight, because that is the hardest thing, is finding two books that are, or two objects that are the same shape, because that's the first thing. You don't want two objects of wildly different shape, because that changes their center of gravity, and that changes what compensations you may need to make to move the weight through space, what modifications you might need to make for that. So like, there's just a lot of balancing that has to go into it. And it's definitely why I tend to focus on one arm at a time, or, you know, just modifying exercises to be done with just one heavier weight. But I have found that the two volumes 1 and 2 in paperback form of the Expanse series are, as far as I can tell, about the same weight and definitely the same shape. So that's worked really well for me when I need two weights, you know, so for lateral raises or lunge with a knee pull, or the wide squat with the knee turn, all of those exercises. So yeah, but yeah, finding books, as Amanda said, finding books with a similar page count, probably part of a series, because series authors tend to write similar numbers of pages for their different installments, and going from there. But I have definitely had the experience of starting something with a weight in each hand and then going, oh no, these are not, these do not match. These do not go together. One of these things is not like the other, and it's both of them. Oh, water. I love water. But yes, so enjoy all of the exercises that only require one super heavy weight. Right? Right? That's the lesson here? Yeah, super heavy weights. All right, side 2 of our weighted leans. Taking that nice, stable position. So check in on those abdominals, all right? It's pretty hard to cheat this particular exercise. And obviously I talked a little bit about the ways that you might try to compensate, but honestly, this exercise, there aren't that many ways to cheat it. It's similar to the slow leg lower in that way. So really, I want you to just focus in and feel how it feels to be using those abdominals so intensely, all right? Feeling the very specific parts of the muscles that are engaging, contracting, and lengthening to get you back up to the standing position. Make sure your glutes are super engaged too, okay? Because that, again, we need to make sure that everything else is nice and stable. So in this instance, we're bending over at the waist. So our torso is moving back and forth. So we need to make sure that our legs aren't going anywhere, all right? And that starts with getting those glutes engaged so that even as I lean over here, I know I can feel it. My legs are completely stable, so they don't have anything else that the muscle can do to try and compensate. So I have to use those abdominals in order to get myself back up to that standing position, okay? So yeah, just things to think about. But really, just learning more about how it feels when you're really using those abdominals. I think it's fun. Like, you know where my favorite muscle groups are. And abdominals are definitely the major one. And that's fine. I think everybody sort of has a favorite muscle group. You know, maybe you really like strong quads because they make you feel really powerful and like Captain America, or maybe you like the sensation of having really strong abdominals and being able to sort of contract your core and lift yourself off of the ground. Or maybe you like having those super strong arms, so when you go to pick something up, you're like, oh yeah, this is nothing. It is totally fine and kind of fun to have like a favorite muscle group. But yeah, you know that the abs are definitely at the top of my list. And not just because I enjoy the exercises that work the abdominals, but also because it's just a really great stabilizing muscle group, and also a really great muscle group for movement generation. It kind of does it all. It generates rotational force, and it stabilizes us so we can lift heavy things without worrying about things going all over the place. And it allows us to balance in weird and crazy positions without worrying that we're gonna fall over, you know? It's just remarkable. It is absolutely remarkable. So, woo! More abdominal exercises, said, well, somebody clearly, because I just said it. Oh, man. All right. Set 2 is done. It's time for set number 3, my friends. So getting back to upright rows. And now is the time that we really start to feel that fatigue. The second to last set, I think, is frequently the hardest one because we can't yet dig in for those final burst pockets of energy. You know, when you're going through a final set of something, it's like when you're running a road race and you're like, okay, there's the finish line. I'm gonna dig in and activate this last pocket of energy that I have just saved up over here, and I'm gonna use it to really push myself to the finish line. But when we hit the second to last set, that is frequently where we're feeling a lot of fatigue and we're not feeling like we are able to dig into that energy pocket yet. So we have to really focus on our form, okay? We need to make sure that we're being honest with ourselves, that we are actually hanging on to the form, okay? Because you know that I tell you every time that I would rather you do 2 perfect reps and rest the rest of the time than force yourself through 25 to 35 and have your form be completely all over the place and be training your body in unsafe movement patterns and set yourself up for injury. We don't want that, okay? So as we head into round 3 of all of our exercises, I really need you to really recommit to your form, to be honest with yourself about where it is, about how you're feeling, to pay attention and go, okay, am I still in those 90-degree positions? Is my core still helping me to keep my back straight against the wall? How are my quads feeling? Am I still breathing, getting that oxygen all the way through my body and helping out those muscles so they're not crying out for oxygen and not getting any, all right? So this is the time. This is absolutely the time to check in, to be honest, and to make sure that you have still got that form. And maybe to cheer yourself on. I'm not gonna lie, I just had a very exciting experience where I think that I have made a strength and stamina breakthrough on wall sits, because usually it does not take very long into the wall sit before my quads in particular are just vibrating under the effort of holding that form. And perhaps you know that feeling, and perhaps it is helpful to know that your fitness instructor feels it too. Today was the first time I've made it this far into class without feeling that feeling, which is really exciting. I think I may have crossed a plateau that I wasn't even actively paying attention to, but am really pleased to know I have crossed. So that's always so exciting. And I know we talk about this a lot, but you know, we get into plateau places absolutely with our fitness, and particularly when you have a teacher who is really insisting that you focus on safety and you focus on form before you start trying to focus in on challenging yourself, upping reps, upping power, upping weight, etc., etc. You know, it can feel like we get stuck in these performance levels and don't feel like we're able to push ourselves through. And so it is always so important, I think, to celebrate every moment that you experience that feels worth celebrating. So if you are doing those wall sits today and you had a similar experience just then where you were like, wow, I didn't feel like it was nearly as like overwhelming and intense as it used to be, like, pat yourself on the back. That's really freaking cool, okay? And no matter how long you're working out, no matter how long you're doing this class, there will always be points where you can have that experience, okay? Again, we're not trying to get to the top of the mountain. We're trying to go on a journey. We're not focusing on must get to this specific destination, because what's the point of this? Well, it's getting up and starting on time, but it's improving our health and creating a lifelong habit for our health, improving our fitness so that as we get older, we don't lose our mobility. We don't lose our ability to remain as active as we want to, and to do the activities that we love, that bring us joy, that bring us improved mental health. You know, that's the journey that we're on. I'm not focused on training Olympic athletes, professional athletes. There are coaches out there who are far better suited to that. I want to work with people who are looking to add exercise into their toolbox for a healthier life. Because that's how I use it, you know? I am never going to come in first in a climbing comp or a half marathon or a cycling race, but when I'm in my 70s, I would fully intend to still be doing this class, to still be out there going for hikes and going for bike rides, going for walks around the lake, and I'd like you all to be able to join me, you know, assuming that we can actually travel around the country and be in person with each other again. We'll get there. We will get there. I know that I haven't necessarily sounded all that cheerful about it tonight, but I know that we will get there. All right. Let's round out set 3 with our lateral raises. There we go. Yeah. So again, making sure that you're controlling the weight the whole time. So one of the tricky things about lighter amounts of weight is that we can frequently get kind of careless with them. Because, I mean, this isn't that heavy, so I could be sort of flapping over here like a chicken. But when I do that, I start to lose the form, I start to lose the control, and I am putting myself in the path of, you know, throwing something out of my shoulder. So with exercises that are using these lighter amounts of weight, I do want you to pay a little extra attention to managing the weight, controlling it the whole way. It's just as important to control these lighter weights as it is to control, you know, the giant laundry detergent bottle, okay? Things to think about. Nice! Yeah! See, wall sits they're intense, man. They're an intense exercise. I do wall sits far more frequently now than I ever have in my life through teaching, and yeah, they're one of those exercises that feel like they should be easier, because you do get to sort of lever yourself against the wall. You get to sort of push against the wall, against your feet, to push your back into the wall. It feels like that should be more helpful than it actually is. So yeah, it's not though, frequently. All right, my friends, guess what? Our final set is here. So here's our last time doing upright rows. So again, we want to take everything we've talked about today and we want to pour that into this final set. All right, this is the last time you'll be doing upright rows today. So maybe see if you can add on a couple of additional reps here. You know, if you've been doing 25 reps, can you get to 28? Can you get to 30? See what you can do. And if you're not feeling that, don't feel pressured to do it. But now is the time. Again, when we have that last pocket of energy, you know, a lot of times we're walking a line between, oh, our body truly isn't ready for that thing yet, and oh, my brain is trying to protect me, but the way that it's trying to protect me is by claiming that I can't do this thing that my body actually does have the capacity for. And it's a tricky line to run between. So when we do the last set of anything in class, that is a great time for us to really dig in and try and give an honest assessment and be like, have I been holding back? Has my brain been trying to convince me that I really need to save that energy in case the saber-toothed tiger that's totally waiting outside my house suddenly bursts into this third floor studio, you know? And that is frequently, not always, but frequently something that we are dealing with, and it's something that causes particularly these plateau points. So just pay attention and see what you can do to challenge yourself in these last sets, to hold your wall sit a little bit longer, to add in those extra reps before finishing up, you know, and just, you know, maybe adding a little bit of extra weight to your final run, if that's something that you can do with the weights that you're using, you know? So it's something that I always want you to pay attention to in the last set. When we get to the end of class, when you know there's nothing else you have to hang onto that energy for, we don't have any more sets coming after this. This is the final countdown. So we have a nice opportunity here to really challenge ourselves. Woo! Wall sits, man. This is what standing quad stretches are made for. We're definitely gonna do some of those once class is done. But yeah, these are our final sets. These are our opportunities to leave ourselves with the promise that we are getting stronger and that we do have this capacity. And frequently it's a capacity that we haven't fully admitted to ourselves or noticed, you know, because again, building that strength and stamina and power is a long process, and frequently a lot of it takes place at the cellular level, at the chemical level, and we're not able to notice that work happening. So, you know, a lot of times on a conscious level, it's just sort of, oh my God, I'm stuck here. Oh my God, I'm still using the same amount of weight. Oh my God, I'm never going to improve. Holy crap, how did I just get here? You know, it's an important thing to remember because it can get really demoralizing to feel like we're working and working and working and just not getting anywhere. And we have all had that experience. Every single person who works out has that experience. Absolutely. And these are the times when we need to be kind to ourselves, when we need to remind ourselves that just because we can't see the immediate improvements does not mean that they are not happening. And just because we feel like we're not making progress doesn't mean that that's true, okay? Sometimes it just takes a while to get there. Floor to ceiling mirrors, absolutely. Yeah, I do like working out in spaces with mirrors. I mean, I'm a dancer and most dance studios are just wall-to-wall mirrors, and it is really helpful for being able to see your form and to be able to make those adjustments without necessarily somebody even having to come up to you and let you know. It's, you know, I get the benefit of looking at myself in the Streamlabs webcam, but yeah, that is definitely something that is sad to lose access to, is mirrors that we can track our form in more effectively. So, you know, there are, again, if we're talking about accessibility and we're talking about trying to figure out how to get the best workout that we can as creatively as possible using things that we have access to, you know, see if you can set up a webcam while you're working out that allows you to look at how your form is looking. Or if you have a full-length mirror somewhere in your house, see if you can move it into your exercise space during class and pay attention to your form there. Or if you can't do that during class, just do it outside of class. Do a couple of reps of something, pay attention to your form, and use that as a way to start building those neuro pathways. You know, you don't have to necessarily be staring at yourself the whole time, but if you have at least some experience of doing the exercise and going, okay, that's what it looks like when I'm not, you know, engaging my glutes, and okay, now I see I need to tweak this a little bit. And then when you go back to class, even if you don't have the mirrors, you still have that memory, and that is a powerful tool, okay? So yeah, there are workarounds. So if that's something that you've really been missing, definitely see what you can do to recreate the experience as best you can. Glass doors in living rooms are very useful too. All right. Oh my gosh, friends. Yeah. Last time. I was moving a little slowly there because I needed some water. And I feel like that's okay. All right. So this is our last set of lateral raises. So again, we are in control of the weight the whole time. We're checking in on that form as best we can, remembering that we still want that nice stable trunk. So we need to be engaging our core, engaging our glutes, making sure that the only joint that's being allowed to move right now are our shoulder joints, okay? And everything else we want to make sure is nice and stable, helping to guide that movement. Get in a few extra reps if you're able to. Awesome. And grab some water, relax a little bit. We will let the timer run out so that everybody can get to the end of their reps in style and comfort. And then we'll do a little bit of standing stretching. Yeah. Having the, I realize I probably take it for granted a little bit, but having the webcam is so helpful for me, for my own form, because I absolutely miss having mirrors that I can practice in. So it is quite useful. So definitely webcams can be a good substitute for at least getting a little bit of view into your form. Good job, everybody. Woohoo! All right. Let us do just a little bit of stretching, my friends. Let's do that standing quad stretch. So make sure that you can put a hand on a wall or a counter somewhere just to maintain your balance. You're going to balance on one leg, take the other foot into your hand, pull that heel into your butt as close as you can get it so you really feel that stretch in the quad. You can obviously do this from a balance. You don't have to have your hand on a wall, but I recommend doing that anyway, even if you can maintain the balance, because trying to hold the balance and stretch the muscle, you're just not able to focus on either thing particularly well, so it sort of reduces the intensity of the stretch that you're getting and means that you're having to split your focus on a lot of different things. So I can maintain the balance, but I just put my hand up against the wall. Let's do the other side. Same thing. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, feeling that stretch. That is nice. And we got some good wall sits in tonight, so good to get that quad stretch in, huh? We also got a lot of good arm work today. I love it. I am quite pleased. All right, let's drop that foot down. It never hurts to just sort of shake out the feet a little bit. Shake out the body a little bit. Yeah. This is not a technical stretching sequence, but you know what? It feels good sometimes. All right, let's take one arm out to the side, bring it across our bodies. Grab just above the elbow so you can pull the upper arm into your chest. Nice and close, getting that shoulder stretch going into the tricep a little bit. Taking some good deep breaths. You don't want to pull your shoulder too far forward, okay? So you really want to go for shoulder still mostly in line and then just flattening that arm against your chest. All right, let that go. Let your arms gently swing back and forth, okay? We're not shoving them back and forth like that. And then other arm, same thing. You may feel more intensity of stretch on one side or the other. Maybe they feel about the same today. Any of those things is fine. But just getting that nice stretch in. Because we did a lot of good work. A lot of good work involving the shoulders, involving the triceps. They deserve a little help. Now, let's take your hands. I want you to clasp them together behind your back. And then you're just going to let your torso come over and let your arms sort of come with you. And so right now, gravity is just pulling down on them a little bit. It's giving me a nice stretch in the shoulders. And I'm not doing anything. I'm not pulling down on them. I'm just holding this position right here, okay? And stand back up. And shake your hands out. Laugh if your step counter is going crazy right now. All right, and I would say we're good. What a great class. Thank you all so much for being here. A nice snowy Friday night. But I do like ending the work week with functional home fitness. It's just a nice way to sort of decompress, I think. And I hope you think that too. Oh my goodness. Oh. Yay. Yay. Cute emojis. Thank you all so much for being here. You know how much I love this. We've got just one more class this week. It's tomorrow morning, Saturday morning at 9 a.m. is the weekend kickoff. One of my favorite classes. Awesome strength and stamina focused bodyweight class. We have a fun time in that one, so definitely head over and take it if you can. Lots of good people. Lots of hard exercise, but a good way to start off your Saturday if you're up for it. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All of those handles are in my end cards, but they are all variations on Blanche Case Fitness. My YouTube channel is where I upload all the VODs from these streams, so you never have to miss a class, even if you can't make the live cast. So head over there and subscribe. I upload every Sunday. If you want to help support me financially in making these streams, I do have a coffee account, Blanche Case Fitness. Your donations are always very much appreciated. They help me keep doing what I'm doing. And if you want to help keep growing this channel, getting us to Twitch affiliate in Q1 of 2021, we are so close, my friends. So please do follow the channel. Tell your friends, loved ones, coworkers, anyone looking for an awesome class. I stream 4 days a week. We've got a wonderful community. Even if you're not up for exercising today, just come out and hang out and chat. It's always a good time. And you never know what we're going to talk about. Some days we really focus on the exercise. Some days we go off onto nerdy tangents. And some days we talk about activism and making the world a better, more just, more equitable place for everyone. And some days we talk about all three. So you never know. But thank you so much for being here tonight. Make sure that you hydrate, finish off your water, and then go fill those water bottles back up and drink those again. Make sure that you get some good food. Important to start rebuilding those fuel stores so that you can keep doing classes like this. Take a shower, and get yourself into some comfy clothes. Maybe watch some Netflix. Who knows? I'm not here to tell you how to live. But I will hopefully see you back here tomorrow morning. Mwah. Have a great night.